In this video, I would like to showcase and explain to you the Truly Heal protocol. How we work with disease and why it's so different from many other approaches. The best way to probably do that is by showing you what we do not. And that's pretty simple. We do not use conventional or alternative medicine to treat the disease. We all know that most of those treatments that are available in case of cancer are to cut it out, to radiate or to poison the tumor, or to use natural remedies. Vitamin C cures cancer, GCMF kills cancer, curcumin kills cancer. All of those remedies are designed to kill the cancer. But results don't indicate that that's a very successful solution. It's an ongoing process, ongoing doing the same thing and more and adding more and more protocols, which is very exhausting, very stressful for the client, usually also very expensive. And still the 5-year survival rate is not better than conventional. It's actually just around the 5 to 7%, which is negligible for the amount of effort and money that goes in. So joining into that community is what we don't want. And that's why we approach the concept with common sense, with a different idea behind it. And it's called functional medicine. Now let me give you an explanation. It's really simple. You have in your house a pipe that is broken, water is leaking out, running onto your wooden floor and is causing damage. And that's what you would then describe as the disease. Now you can go and take all your remedies, bucket, all sorts of tools and wipe the floor, mop up the floor all the time, which is what those treatments actually do. They treat the disease, they try to reduce the cancer, but there is more and more cancer cells coming. There is more aggravation to the disease coming. So until we turn off the water and then mop up the floor, it's not going to change. And this is where we need to look for those broken pipes. That's a very obvious one, but it can be hidden within a wall. It can be in all sorts of hidden places. And that's pretty much what we face when we use our protocol. Many of our coaches have said, it's like being Sherlock Holmes. It's investigating all those different areas to find all of those reasons that aggravate the problem that we're faced with. Cancer, diabetes, depression, anxiety, all of those things are just the result of something that causes it. And that's what we look for. Now I've created this map here and I've found it very, very inspirational because when you think about this whole cone up on top, which is like a funnel, and that all leads down to one probably your weakest organ, your weakest system, and that's where all the poison keeps dripping and dripping. And then you have colon cancer, you have breast cancer, you have in the area where the weakest problem is, that's where you then have that damage done. And what causes that aggravation of disease? We know that deficiencies are directly linked, and there's plenty of research studies that deficiencies aggravate cancer, prevent healing and cause cancer. Plenty of evidence. So that's one problem, one pipe that we need to search to get rid of. And then we have inflammation. Inflammation is galore documented as one of the triggers of any kind of cancer. So again, finding where the inflammation is, what causes the inflammation, what aggravates the inflammation, and then reducing that would stop that trickle. Gut problems. Gut dysbiosis. You have a whole biome of bacteria in your gut which overwrites with their DNA, your DNA, and that then causes a complete misfunction of all bodily systems. If you don't have enough of the right bacteria, you can't absorb nutrients, you can't break down your food. Hundreds of little problems that trickle all the time, the problem, into your main cause, which is then cancer or any other degenerative disease. It can be arthritis. And that's something that you would not get rid by using the treatments, but by stopping that which causes it. Hormones, toxins, infections, stress, stress alone can cause an avalanche of a water break. And that's something we need to resolve. And I will cover that. And this drop here causing the disease, even if you use all the medication in this world, and we know that, it will come back in a different place. We might cut it out from here, but then it grows around the scar tissue, or it comes back in different organs. In the same way with alternative medicine, the problem is usually not resolved without stopping that kind of damage that is caused all the time. You might think that's a very complex subject. Hormones, infections, organ health, stress, all of that to take care of. And yes, it is. And that's why I said in the beginning, it's like playing Sherlock Holmes. But if you have a map to follow, if you have a very clear guideline that takes you from subject to subject, where you can see which are the predominant ones to check first, it's very easy. It actually changes the whole concept of guesswork and trying out and thinking it could be and maybe and waiting for a year whether the results are there, into a very systematic approach that can be checked and timed and proven to work in a very short time. And that's what we do. And I'll show you in a moment. The whole protocol is turned into a map. Very simple, online as a process. You can use it on your phone, on an iPad, on an Android, on a PC or Mac, and work with your client through this whole protocol, and you can't forget anything. You can mark areas that are challenged, toxicity, you realize all the symptoms are there, or hormone, hyperthyroid, all the symptoms are there. Then you can mark them as alarm. Yes, we have all of those symptoms, which indicates we have these problems that we need to deal with. Then you look at the causes, the disease that is triggered by it, and then the treatments and resolves. And I'll show you that it's all guided systematically through step by step, and it works like a charm. Your client starts out with a questionnaire. It's a very comprehensive questionnaire, which will give you already so many insights that you can easily determine we need to look first at this area. This is the most predominant one, or this one would be also very important, so we might combine and resolve those things first. Questionnaire. From that, you do symptom check to really prove whether it's true. And then you create your priority chart of all the things that need to be done. And then you work with practitioners. As a health coach, I wouldn't practice and do things because it's a legal problem. But you can always find a dentist, a nutritionist, a naturopath, people that are experts in their field, and work with them to resolve those issues, to do the test and then to help a client. And let's face it, if you look at this chart, a client, to tell them you need to look at this and this and this, they're overwhelmed. It takes quite a bit of understanding to why we do that in the first place, but then to do it right away requires understanding. And that's where you can give peace of mind and guide your clients through this process with an incredible oversight. It's also quite good because every practitioner will think, my job is the most important. So checking that there is a balance and that we don't overlook certain areas is very crucial. And that's where you can be of immense help and invaluable to a client. To really cover all aspects, you see we have all those different areas, but I would like to visualize them to you in our logo, in our colors. And the first one is to do with all the physical, testable health, where we do toxicity test, deficiency test, inflammation. We check all those things, and then we start out at status quo, and then 3 months later we can check whether results have improved. Very logical. Then we need to look at what normally health coaches do. If you hire a health coach, normally they look at diet, exercise, food, all of your living conditions, maybe sleeping conditions. And that's an important part too, but it doesn't really trigger health or disease overnight. You know that. You can have sleep deprivation for quite a long time until it lowers your immune response. But over time it will. So changing those factors is crucial. But in regards to healing and reversing, they don't do the trick. I have so many clients that come, I eat organic and my cancer still keeps growing. Well, yeah, there is many other factors to be looked at, and that's why just looking at those areas doesn't really count. And then we need to look at stress, and I'll jump straight away to this little chart here, because stress is not general. We have financial stress, we have relationship stress, stress at work, we work too much and have not enough income, or we have social stress together with all our 1,000 occupations and duties that we take on. There is many different areas, and what we've done in our red section, when you learn through the red section, you learn how to resolve stress. And this work was really inspired by Dr. Dean Ornish, who gives his patients tools to be successful in life, how to resolve stress in certain areas. And as soon as you do that, all of a sudden, patients recover in a very short time. And just to visualize the problem, there are patients who do all the treatments, they do really well. And then an emotional trigger happens. Loss of a loved one, financial problems, stress level goes up, and all treatments are negated. Their cancer starts to grow in triple the speed, and there is very little if you cannot help your client to resolve stress. So that part is phenomenal, because we learn all the tools on how to restore and how to repair that part of stress in a very, very effective way. And that then leads us to the last chapter, which is spiritual health. And that's not really about religion, it's about having a purpose of life, a mission. Why would you do all those things if you don't have a reason to stay here? So finding that, determining that, is actually the fuel of life. You might have the car, you have the driver, you have everything, but if you have no reason to go somewhere, why would you? And that's our energy that we feed into a client, and that determines how well they do. The more passion we can give for life, the more reason, the better they achieve results. Now, this is a very complex package with so many parts to it, but it is super easy because it's like pearls on a string, systematically worked through. You can't forget anything, and you can always be certain that all treatments, all tests, all remedies, everything you need to know is right at your fingertips.